You're listening to Drinks and a Movie with your host, Rudy. Spoiler alert.
Rolling Drinks and a Movie podcast. Yo, I'm out here with my dear good friend, Chris. It's been a minute. We are in season 7 of the podcast now. We're recording this mid-November, but you won't hear it till December or possibly even later. We're going to be talking about Michael Mann's 2004 film, Collateral. And special bottle tonight, we've got the latest Midwinter Night's Dram. This is Act 12, Scene 1.
Well, along with
Act 6. So we're going to do a little side-by-side with Act 6, Scene 6. So quite an older expression. Here we go. Pouring a little bit. I'm pretty stoked on this because...
This just come out?
Yeah, it came out a couple weeks ago.
And you found this at...
Total Wine. Super lucky, dude. Like, I never thought I'd see the day. For those of you who may not know, but you should, we did a whole podcast episode on Midwinter Night's Dram with Becky Smith, one of the brand ambassadors from High West. This is their limited release they do every season in the fall winter time. It is their Rendezvous Rye whiskey finished in port barrels, and it's a limited engagement every year. This is Act 12, meaning that it's the 12th year they've done this, the 12th version. And like we mentioned before, we have an older Act 6 that we're going to compare it to just for fun, see how it plays out. So
well,
they're
first thing I'll say is that we poured the Act 6. I did not like the smell of it, but it's opening it. It's been a while since we've opened this bottle. And then we've just opened your bottle.
Yeah, man, it is quite different on the nose too.
Yeah.
I almost get a little bit of a fruit forward, kind of reminds me more like a sherry finish kind of thing. I want to say cherry.
It feels like more of the port is coming through.
Probably, yeah.
I think I put the old one in the barrel.
I feel like I get more of the rye notes and kind of a darker note on the Act 6. It's a little more mellowed. I mean, obviously that one's been open much longer. Yeah. They both smell really good to me.
I think the new one smells really good. Yeah, I feel like the newer one, the Act 12, is a little bit more vibrant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Once again, it could just be time.
Yeah, shit.
The thing I love about this is the thing that I like about all Midwinters. I like the proof. I know it's probably a little low for you, but I do like the proof. It's interesting. I think I've said this before on the podcast, that this is one of those whiskeys that sometimes I'll smell it and I don't like it.
Right. And then you taste it.
And I taste it and I'm like, God damn, that's really good.
Yeah. This is definitely perfect weather for it too. We were out in the cold, working, grinding it out. So this is a nice way to end the night.
It's how we should end the night most nights. All right. So you're going to go Act 6 right now?
I'm going to go 12 first since it's a new one. Then I'll go back and compare. Okay, so cheers, man.
Mariah, cheers. Where's your drink?
I'm going to take my second sip before I...
Yeah, it's attacking my mouth right now. I'm sorry. We both did the same thing. We both swished the hell out of it.
God, it's such an easy sipper for me. It's such a
It just, no matter what, it always gets the side of my tongue. It just makes me think of it makes me want to pause what we're doing right now. Go outside, start the fireplace. And start over. Maybe we should do a podcast one time, just out there with the fireplace.
We should. We definitely should.
Just have a separate table long enough cables to have our mics.
Or we should do a video. I want to do a video that'll be you and me. It'll be, here's our 5 favorite, what are our 5 winter holiday pulp.
Look at the new lighting I got.
I'll check it out after.
Dude, the vibe is going.
Oh, yeah, I see the bulbs. Yeah,
dude.
I thought that was reflections from in here. Yeah, we'll do a whole video at the fire and everything.
Don't threaten me with
Set up a little shotgun mic.
Oh, man. Get Diego to hold it.
No, it's good. It's not blowing me away in this moment. Maybe I should have warmed up with another reference. It's definitely they're good, Rendezvous Rye, that's the base. And I feel like I get a lot of that port characteristic on the back of the palate and the finish.
Right.
A little bit of that figgy, fruit forward kind of vibe. I'm going to go to the 6 now.
I feel like the 6 looks darker to me.
I think so. I held them up to the light, but I couldn't really tell much of a difference.
Looks a little... Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Like a little more amber.
Yeah. I think that's a better way to explain it than the.
Oh man, I really like. Now this one smells like kind of. Oh man, like a fall candle, like some kind of foliage with like plums and apricots.
To me, it literally smells like the air thing we have plugged in the living room.
Dude, now right before you said that, I started getting that.
It's like spiced apple,
a little bit, something like that. It's really good.
It's very, very fall-y, very. Yeah.
It's like what I would use to mop the floor, with.
Let's back that up. Let's Fabulosa.
Yeah, Fabulosa. Yeah,
winter blend.
Yeah,
it's weird because I'm getting nothing on this nose. Like
it's so funny going back and forth. Now the 6 has a more fruit forward, like just really nice aroma. Like I want a candle of it, and the 12 now has a more like brown sugary, sweeter vibe, like caramelly vibe.
Have you sipped the 6 yet?
No, here we go. Now the 6 has a little more spice and rye. Yeah, like that tastes more like rye.
Yeah, it's a lot more rye.
It feels like a lot more of the pepper and
it's almost.
I wouldn't go as far as to say bitter, but definitely more of the spice on the end. But still super smooth and easy, like very mellow.
It feels like the 6 is much more rye forward, and it feels like the 12 is much more port forward.
Right.
It's a sweeter, which I like both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both hitting the spot right now, though. It's interesting. The palate doesn't match the aroma on the 6 for me.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, for sure.
Let me go back to 12.
It definitely seems like the nose on the 12 is much more prominent. I really like both. I think they're both very good. They're different. Which I appreciate. Like 6-year difference. I mean, don't just add dimples to the bottle. It better
right.
There better be something about it, So I appreciate is the label even different on the back?
Yeah, they changed it up. I think for Act 10, I think was when it switched up.
Oh yeah, a blend of straight rye whiskeys.
Yeah,
bottled at high whiskey. Yeah. That's so weird how they limited and man, I like the way limited engagement is said on your bottle. It's in all caps, and in this one they didn't capitalize in engagement.
Yeah, no, it's a banger, man. Like as always, I thought
it just feels like I want to have you over. I want to get the Blackstone, make some steaks.
Yeah, I just love this time of year, man, because it's like the fall.
You saw the Yetis,
yeah. Like the our fall kind of work season is always great, but getting to this point, like the holidays, the weather cooling down, and then like allocation season with whiskey, right? So all the limited release stuff coming out, bunch of new shit. But then you get these too. Like it's something I look forward to every year. It's like, oh, the Midwinters is here, and I know that when it's like fall, winter, that's my like just crushing Sagamore Spirit and other ryes. This is where we open. Like, all right, let's do the toasted expressions and all that kind of stuff.
It is definitely a season of. I feel like other than this, I like the other things we're looking for is like the Elijah Craig barrel proofs.
Yeah.
But this is when it's like, okay, this is companies have been sitting on stuff to release this time of year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the stuff that is released this time of year is always just, it's so good.
Yeah. It's all, good time.
Yeah. We're very fortunate that you saw it. Total wine.
Very lucky, man. Like I never thought I'd just luck out with this one, like I've looked out with some other stuff, but Midwinters, especially over there, seems very elusive. And it's funny because I noticed this at that particular location. It's the new Hollywood one where I feel like the shit that they know is good. You know how it's like the glass doors where they put it?
Yep.
Well, where the doors close, so it's like the black column in the middle. This was like directly behind that. And a couple of weeks ago, they had Elijah Craig 18 and same thing. It's kind of a wide bottle.
Yeah.
They had it turned and it was directly
They had it spined in like a book. Get out of here. Someone's saving that.
Yeah. So it's like you guys are definitely trying to like hide this shit so that if you're walking by, you won't notice it. Like you have to go up to the glass and like peek around it.
Well,
like,
that's good. That's good to know to freaking obviously put my schnozberries up on the freaking glass to look around it.
Yeah, you never know what they're hiding back there, man.
I feel like our total wine never has anything.
The Rancho one.
Never anything.
I feel like I've seen a couple things there before, but yeah, it's like, it's funny how some just get like all kinds of good shit. Like I was telling Sally, like this new one by her place. So far, every time I've gone, I've seen something fucking special there, which is cool, but it's also dangerous because it's like 5 minutes away from her place. And it's like anytime I leave, I'm like, well, I'm going to do the Total Wine Stop. And now it's like I have to do it every time because I know I'm going to find something.
What I'll do is I'll get a picture of you and I'll take it there and I'll show you. This guy comes in.
Don't let him in.
You call the police. He's dangerous.
Well, dude, they even have the Nelson Bro sherry cask there, man. That's like, they've got them there. I almost got it, but I was like, I already have a backup. I shouldn't get another one right now. I mean, but the Frey Ranch, like single grain fucking wheat. Oh, dude, I should have. Okay. We'll just drink soon. I should have brought that over. No, I have a lot of stuff. We gotta hang out, man. Cause I got, the Wild Turkey 70th anniversary.
Yeah, we gotta. Hi.
I'd like to do the new Maker's Mark stuff, like a little more seriously, you know?
Well, I think I'm going to come back to them in a second, but they're both different, but they're both good.
Yeah. Yeah, both good. Not as different as I thought, maybe.
I think right off of the bat in the nose, it felt like it was going to be a lot different.
I don't know. It is. Yeah, it's like.
I do think that the 12th, Act 12 is sweeter and more like almost like bourbon forward. And the Act 6 is more rye.
It's funny now. I just had them again, and it feels like they're matching up.
Oh, they're just fighting each other. It's like no.
But yeah, all right. Let's talk Collateral, man.
Hey, come on. I'll take it. I got 5 stops to make.
What's your name?
Max.
Max. I'm Vincent.
I'll meet you in the alley behind the building. Oh no! What the hell? You killed him. Red light, Max. Hold on. Man, you were gonna drive me around tonight and never be the wiser, but we're in plan B. Now we gotta make the best of it. Improvise, adapt to the environment. Whatever, man, we gotta roll with it. You just met him once and you kill him like that? But I should only kill people after I get to know them? I'm not up for this.
What are you gonna do about it?
There's a man named Vincent.
I got another DOA.
He's already killed witnesses. He's coming to kill you.
Max! I do this for a living!
What's going? What's my work? Gotta roll with it. Adapt.
Get your hands in the air!
That's fun coming from you.
Slow down. Shoot me.
I had been wanting to do this movie for a minute.
I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah. But I just haven't gotten around to it. And then you brought it up recently and I was on a plane and I was like, yo, they got it on here. So here
That's
we go.
kind of wild that it was on a plane.
Yeah.
Like a film from 2004. Like, come on. Was it American Airlines? Come on, American.
Oh, it was United, man. They had like a lot of movies on my flight back.
Really?
Way more movies than on my flight there. And like a lot of like classic cinema too. Like the library was cool. Pretty big. Yeah. Like Deadpool and Wolverine was already on it,
Damn. Well, when did you come across this film?
When it came out, I didn't see it in theaters,
okay,
but my dad got it on DVD. I remember he watched it a lot. So I watched it at home.
Okay.
That's when I first saw it. And I always liked it, but it's been a while since I've seen it, like, top to bottom.
For sure.
Especially as like an adult now. It's been quite a while. And I think it's one of Tom Cruise's best roles, man, as far as everything I've seen him in.
It's funny you bring that up because I didn't see it in 2004 when it came out. I saw it many years later, maybe like 2010.
Okay.
It's just something that like never, like, I don't know, something about it never like caught my eye enough for me to like, and it was something on HBO like one night. I was like, I want to watch this.
Yeah.
And I think we all know that Tom Cruise has chops. Like he has acting chops.
Yeah.
Like, and so I don't want to say like this was like the first time we saw him with acting chops. For me, it was the first time I saw Tom Cruise in a character like this.
Yeah.
And it was so like refreshing for him. And especially because like kind of when the movie starts, it just seems like he's like cool Tom Cruise. Like, right. And then it just turns really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it so well. And it was like, I've seen like a lot of his other films when he plays serious roles, and it's like, well, this is great. He's doing a great job. But there was something about this, about like just his like sociopath, like kind of like not all there. Like obviously, like it was like he. It's wild because I know Jamie Foxx got nominated for a Best Supporting Actor.
I think so. That sounds right. Yeah.
Man, I'm kind of surprised that he didn't. I guess I'd like to look up who else or who got nominated for Best Actors that year.
Yeah.
But man,
yeah, you're right. I think he deserved a little more recognition. And for me, I love seeing him play a bad guy.
Dude, like, and
it's not like he's over here doing a bunch of stunts. He's just being like the bad guy.
Yeah.
It makes me think of like I remember when it was announced that Leo DiCaprio was going to be the villain in Tarantino's new movie,
Right,
Django
yeah.
Unchained. It's like, oh, he's going to be the bad guy of the movie. And I'm like, all right, I'm excited to see that because he's always like the heartthrob, whoever. It's like, let me see him be the villain. And I thought it was great. I loved it. And this makes me feel kind of the same way. And he just looks cool as hell, man.
Dude.
Like the Silver Fox look, right? Like the salt and pepper hair. Like that was a little different. He's got like a lot of like 5 o'clock shadow, almost a beard going, just his whole demeanor is just really great in this
and
movie.
the thing is about the great writing of this film is that there's times where you like him.
Yeah.
And you're like, you are right.
Yeah.
That's right. You tell that guy.
Mhm.
You're like, yeah, good for sticking up for him. And then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, like, dude, you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
Like
Just
you're walking the line of morality here. But like it's one of those great things. Like it's like that great villain thing where when it's like, well, I can see the villain's point of view and I can see the good guy's point of view. And that's kind of like where there's moments in this where you're just like, and you even see like Jamie Foxx being like, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Then it just goes bad.
Yeah.
But I think this might have been the first Michael Mann film I have ever seen.
Really?
I'm looking at like other movies. I
mean, you've seen Heat.
Yeah, but I don't think I saw Heat till later in life.
Okay.
And I think that was another thing that really like sucked me into this movie was just how it's shot and how like gritty it is.
That is a really cool thing about it. And I hope, a theater does a screening of it at some point because I want to see it on the big screen because they shot on both film, it's 2004, but this was also partially shot on digital. So it's 2004. This is when like digital cameras, especially for making movies, was like still fairly new or like really new. Like I think Attack of the Clones, Star Wars Episode 2 was, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, everybody, but I'm pretty sure that was the first like feature length film to be shot digitally, like zero film.
Gotcha.
Because George Lucas was like all in on like the next thing. And this one was a little bit of both. It was shot on, I think, the Viper camera.
Oh yeah, it says right here. Feature film to be shot with the Viper film stream high definition camera.
Yeah, dude, high def, 1080p. But because it does have a gritty look, because now they have the higher ISOs that make it kind of noisy and grainy. But this movie wouldn't at all have the same look, and it stands apart from other films because like film stocks at that time didn't get really bright, but with this one, you see like the clouds in the night sky.
Yeah.
It's like they're shooting with like moments of deep focus where you can see into the background. It's not like just all blurred out because the lens is really wide open, so everything's blurry. It's like you see things so clearly, and it's like such a great depiction on film of like nighttime Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I love that it's all on location.
Yeah.
And you're seeing them go to Hollywood and downtown and Crenshaw, like all these different areas. And it looks the way we see it, like in reality. You know what I mean? It's not flashy. It's like all the lights and the different colors and everything.
You hit a deer in Crenshaw?
Yeah. Right. Dude, that part was tense, man.
Dude,
that was a really tense scene.
There's so many, I can't wait to talk about it because there's so many tense parts. We were sitting there just like
how they getting out of this one?
Oh, no. He's like, yeah, he probably has a wife and kid waiting at home for him.
Yeah.
He opens that truck, they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Dude.
yeah.
Yeah, he's so cold, man.
Yeah, just like, yeah, hey, man, this happens, they're dead.
Yeah, yeah.
It's on you. It's so great. Yeah, I think that was the first thing that grabbed me watching it was like, wow, this looks different, and
Yeah.
and that's what kind of like really draws you in, like the
Yeah.
whole night, especially as the night keeps. It also shows you. I mean, for two people that we've spent a lot of nights in LA, like
Mhm.
there's some honest depictions of
Yeah.
like LA.
Yeah.
I loved that, like reading about like the locations that it were at. Like they could have easily shot it in Atlanta. You know, like so much stuff is shot in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Like they could have done that, but it's like I still don't think you could have brought that vibe, that
Yeah.
night vibe.
It's too important because Los Angeles is almost like a character within it
Yeah.
because it's about going to different
Yep.
destinations, right?
Yeah.
And you know, of course, the fact of him being a cab driver too, and like knowing the streets and the road. Like I love the when Jada Pinkett first comes into the car,
Yeah.
and he's talking about like, oh, I bet you this route's going to be faster, and they're like debating why.
It's like, no,
like,
you wanna
well,
do the-
no,
you-
it's
you-
going to get traffic.
You want to do the 110 because of this. And he's like,
Slow people drive to Pasadena. Or
Yeah,
it's like all of that is important, you know.
and we all think that way. Like,
Yeah.
you and I have definitely been in a car and Google has told us to go one way. And we're like, no, Google.
Yeah.
No. I'm not getting on the 5 right now.
What bothers me though is so far every time I'm like, damn, Google Maps was right. I'm like, it was fucking right.
I won't give that shout out. It still wouldn't have gone well. Something would have happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that that was another thing. It's just so gritty and I think that's what after that like drew me to Heat
Yeah.
because Heat kind of had the same feeling to it, you know. But yeah, I love the way that it films, it looks, and then also like I totally forgot about like all the people that are in the movie.
Like Jason Statham in the very
Jason Statham,
beginning. Javier Bardem.
yeah, Mark Ruffalo, Peter Berg.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you just like start like I was watching it again. Like wait, Mark, I totally forgot Mark Ruffalo was in this.
Yeah.
Like what is going on? And I totally forgot that Bardem was. I was like, what? How do I forget these things? You know?
Yeah, I always forget that Javier Bardem is in this.
Yeah.
Like I'm always surprised. I mean, I guess I haven't even seen it that many times in my life, to be honest. This is actually probably maybe the third time I've seen it straight through, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I was like, oh wow, there he is. Yeah, Javier Bardem, Felix.
Yeah, I love it, and I think it's a great like premise of like him showing up. Like,
Yeah, I forgot to give the synopsis. Whoops.
you want where's it at?
No, you got it. I think you were about to go there.
I don't know if I have a synopsis. I just have like a.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, which you probably have because you're 24 minutes into this already, it's this follows Max, played by Jamie Foxx, who's a cab driver, and then he gets a passenger at the last minute. You know, he's around downtown LA, gets a passenger, Tom Cruise, Vincent, that was his name, right? Yeah, Vincent, who turns out to be a hitman. It is just making Jamie Foxx drive him to all his different hits around town. And
Well, it's so sad because he's like he's so nice to him. Like he's like, and then he's just like, hey man, how much money you pull down a shift? Okay, well, and he's like, click, the money comes out perfectly, and he's like,
right.
$600. I got 5 stops. Get me back to LAX so I don't have to run to the plane.
Yeah.
We're good to go. And honestly, like, even though we kind of know what's going to happen, like you're thinking like Jamie Foxx, like, hell yeah, dude, take the gig.
Yeah.
Immediately goes poorly. But like, I think what's interesting about it is that it was just with a synopsis of it, of just like it becomes so much more than Jamie Foxx being the driver and just taking him around. Like he becomes an integral part of the whole evening.
Yeah.
Like it would. I guess I don't want to say the night would have been easier if he literally did just stay in the car for all 5 things in it.
Right.
But he's like, no, since you're in it, you're coming in like.
Yeah.
Coming in with me. And Jamie Foxx does such a good job of like being like an innocent person, like having to deal with these things. Like what is happening?
He does portray it really well. Like I like when the first kill happens. That's the dude that like falls out the window onto the car.
Yeah. They pick him up.
Yeah, and they're like putting him in the trunk and all that. And he's just like, hey man, it's just take the car, just take the cab, I'll go. And Tom Cruise is like, oh yeah. He's like, and you won't tell anyone? And he's just like, no, yeah, I won't tell anyone. And he's like, get the fuck in the car. Okay.
What got me the first time in that scene is he's like, grab his arms. And Jamie Foxx is just like, what?
Yeah.
And he picks him up and Jamie Foxx immediately freaks out. He goes, he's twitching, man. He's twitching. Yeah. Like, and he's like, come on, just go. But then he's like, well, you're not going to tell anybody, huh? Get your ass in the car. It's so funny. Like, I like the amount of levity yet like super intenseness in this film is so well done. And I like, as you said earlier, like I think this is one of like Tom Cruise's like standout performances. I don't think he gets enough credit for. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because it's shadowed because he wasn't nominated. He's a bad guy, and Jamie Foxx was nominated, so there was probably more hype around that going into like award season. But like every time I watch it, I'm just like, God damn, dude, this is great.
He's so good, and he looks legit and pro doing all the shit he does. You know, like how fast he draws the gun and reloads,
and he holds it like well, you know him. He's a freaking he's obsessed with that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Like he will. I mean, we've said this before. Tom Cruise loves to make movies.
Yeah,
like he is a connoisseur of movie making, and he's not going to do anything that might make him look.
Oh yeah.
Stupid or silly.
He's one of those people that I wish so badly I could have a conversation with him. And I'm not like a giant Tom Cruise fan. I haven't seen all his movies and shit, but what I appreciate about him is exactly what you're saying. Like he is someone who is such a fan of movies and filmmaking. And supposedly he said this, and I think I've heard at least 2 interviews where he says this. Supposedly he watches like one movie every day. Like that's just his routine is like, I got to get a movie in, and he's so passionate about it. Like I'm sure he's got to be a big cinephile, and I would just love to talk movies with him. Like I want to know, like, what are you watching right now? Like, what's your favorites? Yeah. I would just be so curious from him, because even though he does these Mission Impossibles and stunts and all these action movies and shit, it's like, he's into, you know, the good shit, it seems. And he cares a lot, you know, even to the point of, when the pandemic was happening and they were shooting, I think doing Mission Impossible. And when they took the whole crew of the movie, and because he was the producer, he's like, we're all going to take the day off and we're going to go watch Tenet in theaters, the new Chris Nolan movie, because he's like, we need to support it. We need to make sure that we got to do it and see it on the big screen and blah, blah, blah. And I just think that shit is super cool. Love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it gets pretty out of hand. I like how it gets out of hand really quick. Like I immediately feel bad for Jamie Foxx, because like he's flirting with Jada Pinkett Smith. It's like, oh, this is all right, and then it's like he's gonna call it a night, pick the guy up, and then and it's just like, and like I mean, I guess you kind of have an idea because you've seen the previews and stuff. But when he gets out of that car and you see like the way he looks up at the building and the way he just, I feel his tone changes immediately when he goes, I can't stay double parked here, man. And I feel like that's the first time Tom Cruise's tone changes, and he's just like, doesn't even look at Jamie Foxx. He goes, wait around the side in the alley. Yeah. Like all of a sudden it's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
What? Why do you look different?
What are you serious about?
And then like Jamie Foxx, they're just getting his sandwich ready. Like, it's gonna be such a great night, man. I'm making $600.
I love when the cops like, you have a food fight in here?
Yeah. But yeah, that guy falls on the freaking car, jacks the whole car up. They get back in the car, and then the next scene is immediately with the police, right?
Yeah.
That scene, you had mentioned already, that is so freaking...
So tense. And it's kind of crazy when I think about it that, like, the vehicle's compromised. Like, this is the first kill, and it screws with the car. Now the windshield's busted, a little bit of blood on it. The body's in the trunk. And, man, that's something that I feel like a lot of films would save for, like, later, like 2/3 in, like, oh, this just brought the stakes up. But the fact that they do it right off the bat, kill number 1. Yeah. And they're already compromised, you know? And yeah, I wanted to go back to that. One thing I thought was interesting watching this again was the difference in Max from when he's talking to Jada Pinkett, right? Like the pretty woman in his car, and you know, they're kind of joking, going about the traffic and this and that, and making the little bed, and it becomes flirtatious, right?
Yeah.
And talks about his photo and this and that, ends up getting the number. And then there's a similar once Tom Cruise or Vincent gets in the car, there's a similar kind of trajectory of conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need to get here. Oh, I'm going to take this way and this way. It's quicker. But how the dynamic is so different, him talking to like a pretty woman as opposed to talking to a man, I thought was like really well done and interesting that they showed that, and even to the point where he's talking to her about, oh yeah, the cab business and I'm trying to do this. But with Tom Cruise, he's just like, oh no, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to talk about that.
He's like, I like that. You don't talk about stuff. You do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is gonna go poorly later.
Yeah. I thought that was really
But
interesting.
I don't know. I just felt that like in that moment, like Tom Cruise is just kind of like fluffing him up to like, oh, this guy's like making me feel like it's like that's right. That's right. We want to talk. You're not a talker. You're a doer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he just becomes like the world's best like car salesman.
Yeah. I mean, man, when he flashes that money, I'll get you.
Dude,
to do a
it
lot
was
of things.
awkward. That was like that looked like it was CGI. It was like, so I was like,
yeah, it was like
what
too
the-
perfect.
Well, because when he said $600, I was waiting for him to say like the way the money looked. I was waiting for him to say I got 20 grand.
Yeah.
So then it was like a couple stacks, and I was like, wait, was it literally just 6 $100 bills that he popped out perfectly like a geisha fan?
Right.
All right, cool.
Well, so this brings us to, we have the very tense cop scene, right?
Dude, man, that
It ends up working out for him.
I thought they were dead,
Yeah.
and I knew it's on the side of the street in like Hollywood, right?
Yeah. It looks like Hollywood Boulevard, like
Yeah.
kind of further down.
Yeah, and I
near
was
the
like,
freeway.
because when he gets out of the car and the gun's right there at his side, I'm like, man, he's gonna do something just like, especially, I mean, I don't know, Rudy. I feel like we've been Hollywood on like a Friday night. If you do it right, I don't know if I don't even know if a gunshot would
Yeah, probably not.
catch me off guard. I'm over here watching the Hulk like talk to Spider-Man.
No, for real. Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
and I don't remember the call that like saves them when they're just like,
Mhm.
oh, we got to go. Is that the call that they're going to his first? Crime scene?
I don't think so, because I don't remember them being at that crime scene. I think it
Okay.
was some kind of other.
I just didn't remember like right now off the
Yeah.
top of my head. Because I thought it like that might have been it, but I just remember like just everything about it. You feel so bad. You're just like, this is not like, hey man, you shouldn't have a customer in the car. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Like, geez.
No, I'm just down the street. I'm just trying to get it back. It's like, nope.
He's like, come on, man, it's my first fare. He's like, nope, too bad. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
And it's once the cop sees like the blood on it, when he's like, is this blood right here? Oh man. Yeah. It's.
Yeah, I hit a deer over on Slauson.
Yeah.
Like, you hit a deer? Yeah, man, they're out there.
Yeah. But man, what's funny is then on his second kill, right? And this is where we see what Vincent is made of,
Yeah.
is when he zip ties Max. Like, and again, a similar thing, like, all right, in the alley around the side,
Yeah.
I'll be right back, zip ties him to the steering wheel right here. And he's trying to get help. And then poor Max, Jamie Foxx, right? Like trying to get help, screaming. These dudes come up to him, pull a gun on him.
Yep.
Give us everything you got. He's like, my hands are tied to the steering, like all frustrated.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care what they're tied to. It's like, takes the briefcase, jackpot. In this shot, just the way it's framed, Tom Cruise like kind of walking out and he like looks at the guys.
I love it. He's
looks
like,
at the car and he's like, hey, homie.
yeah. Like, oh, dude.
the way
Like,
he says that. Hey, homie. Is that my briefcase?
dude, like, it's like a master class in like just acting and just walking and just like his mannerisms.
Mhm.
Like when he walks out, you're kind of like a part of you was like, fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah.
And dude, it's like, you guys are fun.
Yeah.
Like-
And but at this point, we don't even know, right? Like, we don't really know what he's capable of, but when he immediately just like, takes the gun out of his, or like punches it out of his hand and just double taps like each of that, like,
Dude, it's like,
so like 2 to the chest, 1 in the head, both of them, and super fast.
it's like, it's 2004 John Wick.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Just pop, pop, pop. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like, and you're just like, oh, this is a trained professional.
Yeah.
Probably trained by the
Yeah.
US government. Like, he's seen some things.
Yeah.
And now he's on the loose and he's making lots of money in his nice suit. Yeah, that one, that was, I think that was the first time in the movie I was like, dude, Tom Cruise. Like,
Mhm.
bro, like, this isn't a courtroom. This isn't
Yeah,
you know, riding
badass.
your motorcycle on the thing or sliding around your underwear. This is physical, man.
Yeah.
Gee, this isn't a volleyball game.
No, that's such a good moment, man, when we like really see what's up with him.
I still think the part that is the hardest for me is the next part in the movie.
Which part's that?
The third kill.
The jazz guy.
First off, it's hard to watch because his fingers don't match what he's doing. Rudy and I are both former musicians, and you're just watching like, okay, Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise over here killing it,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't do some research on fingering?
Just memorize the buttons.
Yeah, come on, man. But just the man, the amount of hope
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about what happens, but the amount of hope that he gives us, and I was there in the movie, like he's gonna let him go,
Yeah.
like he is. It's gonna be like one of the no.
You answer Miles Davis' question. I'll let you go. I'll go so far.
Yeah, I'll
Never
go
hear
so
from me
far.
again. I know everything about Miles. Well, just the way it's portrayed too, like he shoots him like 3 times in the head and like catches him and lowers him down, and just so brutal. And Jamie Foxx just sitting there with them. And what did he say? What was the question? Like, where did he first study jazz or whatever? And Jamie Foxx, he's like, music school. He's like, that's it. You let him go now.
Dude, it's yeah, man. It's especially because like it even felt like at the beginning of the scene that like that Vincent wanted to take a break.
Yeah, right.
Like
Go in, have a drink.
Yeah. And it's like, oh shoot, and there's like a little bit of like maybe there's a turn here in the movie we don't know it's about to happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe like the cops are about to come in and it's a different. But when it's just like when he starts talking to the trumpet player, it's like, oh no, this is part of the plan.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And it's such a like, they're having fun, having drinks after hours, like
yeah.
friendly conversation. He's telling them stories about one of his best experiences in life, man. It is pretty heavy. Like it's pretty messed up.
I think that like, I think when I saw this film, it was around a time in my life where I started to watch more serious movies
Mhm.
and like really like sit down,
Mm-hmm.
shut up and watch and like be a like a movie goer. And I remember like in my room, I had like a nice recliner, like to hit the lights, like sit there and just completely. It was when I had a brand new Samsung TV, and it was when they started to get the like the motion, it was like the first 120 hertz TV.
Yeah, like the smooth motion stuff.
And it was the first version of that TV, and it was a 40-inch TV. It was the first TV to ever have that on it. And I worked at Best Buy, and I got a deal on it. I was like, when we set it up, like everyone at Best Buy was around it. Like, oh my gosh, look at how good this TV looks. And they kept saying like, it's not too long until it's going to get into all these TVs. But this is like the first one. I bought it like 2 days later. I was like, no, I have to have this. I remember like watching this in the movie and being like, this is wild. And I think that this is one of like the first movies where I like was like, and especially like this scene where I was like, I got to watch more movies.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you get caught up in like watching stuff that like dopamine hits.
Yeah.
That are just like, that was fun. Like, okay, I watched, my like old school, or watched like something that's like, ha ha ha. But like, it was like, I feel at time, it was like, I got to start watching films.
Right.
And like that inside a feeling, like how we were talking tonight about Interstellar.
Right.
And at some points it's a hard film to watch.
Yeah.
Also like, completely different hard film to watch, but like Schindler's List. Like that's a hard film to watch.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like every human needs to sit down and watch.
Yeah.
Every
You
human
gotta go
needs
for that ride.
Every human needs to sit down and watch Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is like a time in my life in movies where it was like, oh, man, I gotta watch some shit. I gotta like I feel like my parents have DVDs downstairs that I'm always like,
Yeah. Like now it's time to start
I'm
going
cool.
through them. Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe let me borrow this one. Okay. But it's such a, and once again, it just shows like the acting chops of all the three guys in the scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's just it's a hard one to watch, but it's great. Like the way it's shot, everything about it. Like I just feel like it's one of those movies or it's one of those scenes you're like, I'm literally just like lost in it. The house is silent. You're just like,
it's funny how he justifies it to Max, Jamie Foxx too, right? Like I love just their conversations between the killings.
yeah,
You know, when he's like, oh, you care, like they call the first dude who goes out the window, like the fat guy or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, I killed one fat guy and you're, you know, having a temper tantrum about it. And he's just like, how many people, you know, go missing each year? How many people are killed in these countries and killed this and that? He's like, so did you join the Peace Corps? Did you join this? Do you donate? Do you do this and that? Like all of a sudden you care?
yeah.
He's like, all this stuff is always happening, you know, and since when do you care? And I mean, this is before we know he's a hitman and all that, but when he first gets in the car and he's talking about how he hates coming to LA and
Yeah.
too many people, this and that. And he's like, you know, I heard this story about someone who died. A man died on the metro on the train. And then it was 6 days before anyone even realized he was dead. Dude was doing laps all around Los Angeles. No one had any idea.
Yeah.
No one cared. He's like, a man dies. No one gives a shit. And I'm going to jump to the ending, but damn. And the fact that that's how he goes out, like
Yeah.
dying on the train, man. And he's like, man dies on the train. You think anyone will notice? And he's just fucking there. That almost makes me feel bad for him.
Well, and once again, like that's just like talk about like just like great writing to the fact that there
Right.
are moments in this film, and this happens in so many good films where like you're like, yeah, Vince, yeah, you're right, 100%, and then you're like to Jamie Foxx, like, dude, stop being a bitch,
Right.
like we talk, like no, he's right, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, Vincent, that was pretty bad. That was
Yeah.
pretty like that's pretty. And then the end, you literally feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
You're just like,
And it's funny. It's like he knows it to be true, you know, Vince. That's why he can just draw his gun in public. You know, like when he kills the dudes in the alley, and they're in an alley surrounded by
Yeah.
apartment buildings, but like that doesn't lead to them getting caught or, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't give a shit. He'll take his gun out wherever. In these moments where you kind of think maybe the relationship is like kind of cool, or whatever. Like the first part that comes to mind is when the Lenny or whatever, the dispatcher is like giving him shit about the car and this and that.
dude.
And he's like pretending to be the attorney.
He's like, tell him you're not liable. It was an accident.
Yeah.
You're trying to extort this working class
Yeah.
man. And I was there like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I
there
was like,
go.
you know what? Take him to the hub. Let him kill that guy
Yeah.
too.
And I love it. He's like, now tell him to shove the cab up
Yeah.
his fat ass.
Yeah, Lenny, what's up? It's me.
Just got off the phone with the cops. Desk sergeant called to think you brought the cab in.
Yeah, so?
So, aside from I hate talking to cops, they tell me you crashed the goddamn cab?
No, I got crashed into. I didn't.
Do I care what, where, or why? You're paying.
It was an accident. You're not liable.
It was an accident. I'm not liable.
Bullshit, I'm making you liable. It's coming out of your goddamn pocket.
You tell him to stick this cab up his fat ass.
Can't do that. That's my boss.
So?
I need my job.
No, you don't.
Still there? I'm talking to you. Back.
He's not paying you a damn thing.
Who the hell is this?
Albert Ricardo, Assistant U.S. Attorney, a passenger in this cab, and I'm reporting you to the DMV.
Well, let's not get excited.
Not get excited? How am I supposed to not get excited? Listen to you try to extort a working man. You know goddamn well your collision policy and general liability umbrella will cover the damages. Now what are you trying to pull, you sarcastic prick?
Look, I was just trying to...
Tell it to him. Tell him he's an asshole. Go ahead.
You're an asshole.
Tell him he pulls his shit again, you're gonna stick this yellow cab up his fat ass.
And next time you pull any shit, I'm gonna have to stick this yellow cab up your fat ass.
It's like that part. And then when they go to see his mother, and you know, he's like a sociopath and shit, right? But then when he's like, she carried you in her womb for 9 months and you're not going to get her flowers. Or whatever. So he like buys the flowers for her and she just doesn't give a shit. And it's like, I told you, man. I told you.
Question for you: What do you think about? What is your thoughts about how Jada Pinkett Smith comes back into the film?
I'm You know, I was thinking about that when I was watching it. I'm fine with that. I kind of like that. I mean, it's a crazy coincidence, right? But I kind of like that it ties back into that.
At first I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, was this just a thing to get her more screen time, and that it was because it was somebody that he had an interaction with,
Right.
and he already cares about.
Yeah.
And I think I wrestled with that for a while, but now the more I watch it, when it's like when she tells you, like in the beginning, she tells you about like the thrill
Yeah.
of like being in there, like
Right.
getting. It's like, oh no, she's going after people. She's
Yeah.
like doing. So then I'm just like, oh, you know what? She's ruffling too many feathers.
Yeah.
But it is a great coincidence. It's just like, because when I see her, like when they get back to it, I'm like, what? And it's like, I was like, oh no, this is, and it's finally like, it's finally enough motivation for Max to be like, no more. Like, no,
Yeah.
we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this.
The only part that I don't really buy, and you can tell me what you think about this moment, is the fact that Max ends up being the one coming out on top at the end in the train. They have their shootout and that he's the one who kills Tom Cruise. I just like, up to this point, I'm like, no, man, you can't give me all of this. And like, okay, of all the people tonight, he's the one who's going to put an end to him. And I understand they're on the train and it's moving and the lights were flickering, but that's not enough. They're both standing like point blank shooting through the door. Like, I think Jamie Foxx should have at least gotten shot too. Maybe not the kill shot, but you know.
I agree with you, because I remember when it happened, I immediately thought about that quote from the beginning of the movie, like you quoted about, like, guy just was on I think it would have been so much more poignant and disturbing if Jamie Foxx did die,
Mm-hmm.
and then Vincent just walks off,
Right.
and it's just like, and
That's
he's gonna do it again.
Mhm.
Like, I would have been okay with, like, if they got into the fight and then Annie got away,
Yeah.
and
But
like,
then Jamie gets killed.
but Jamie, because like,
yeah.
this dude's been tearing through people in LA all night, and this all of a sudden, a cabbie with a crush is gonna be like, not anymore,
Yeah.
not on my watch.
Yeah.
You know, so like I remember like thinking about that, like immediately, like man, it would have been so much more intense if it was like, because there could have been a line, there could have been like, he shoots like Max and they're sitting there and blah blah blah, and they're talking about it, and like Vincent could have like been close with them, and he goes, it's like he could have been like, well, Max, you're just gonna be another one of those guys
Yeah.
that dies on a train or something
Yeah.
like that, like. And it's like, it's your fault. You did nothing with your life, but like just something.
That
just
would have been a hell of a way to end it.
dude, I'm telling you, just like
Yeah.
yeah, like there it is.
Yeah.
And it could like gone back to the beginning, like, looks like you were all talking, no do,
Right.
and then just like like, even if like Vincent's injured,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe he does get clipped, but it just like, it could have been a cool shot of him just like walking down the street, like the sun's coming up.
Yeah.
and, like,
Yeah.
dude, and just been like, I mean, I think as I say that, I think movie makers of today, if they made that movie, they would do that,
Yeah.
because everyone's about how can we make this film again and make more money off of it. But I do think it would have been a much more serious film if, like, you're 100% right. Like,
Yeah.
okay, all of a sudden the untrained, like, I'll tell you right now, if I had a gun and a Marine had a gun in a subway and the lights are flashing and we both got to make a call,
Yeah.
man,
You're not walking out of.
I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like, especially this guy. This guy's like Green Beret.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
yeah.
he's chewed through people his whole, like,
Yeah.
his whole
At
adult
the
life.
very least, 9 times out of 10, that person's walking
Yeah.
away. Like,
He could probably close his eyes and hit me with the first shot.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, probably shaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
man.
and thinking like, is the gun even ready to
Right.
shoot?
Right.
Have I done the proper things? I've
Yeah.
never taken a handgun class. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, but no, I mean, it's a little too lucky at the end for me.
Yeah.
But
That's the one little.
yeah.
Right.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, man.
Still a great ending. Still, it's great, like everything about it. But I think that could have definitely kept the tone of the film. Like,
Yeah.
just the fact that like I would like to have seen the bad guy win.
Right. You know what part is like really cold and kind of crazy, but I do like it, and it bums me out. It always makes me sad, but I still like it. Is the fact that Mark Ruffalo just so unceremoniously gets shot down.
Yeah.
Because you think they're leading you to believe like, oh, he's gonna end up being the hero of the movie. He's gonna save. He's gonna find, and he does. He finds him in the club. He's like, yeah, I believe you. I know you're good. You stick with me. You get behind me. You know, we're gonna get you out of here. And then right out the door, just caps him. And I love how then, you know, Vincent and just, all right, yeah, get in the car. Get in the car. He's like, yeah, I saved you. Like, and then when Jamie Foxx like gets in there and just the look on his face of just, oh man, like almost like he's just given up. He's like, well, I guess I'm not getting out of this.
Well, so like that's why I actually love that moment.
Like, you didn't have to kill the cop.
Yeah, I just love that moment because they give you all this hope,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh hell yes, like oh no, he's good, he's got him, something's gonna happen, but Vincent's gonna start chasing them down.
Yeah, right.
But when it comes to the cock, like,
yeah.
Didn't even
stand a chance.
Like this guy is a step ahead.
Yeah,
like this is what he did. What I did always like was the juxtaposition of how like Vincent kind of looked like a cop, like a well-dressed like detective.
Yeah, right.
And Mark Ruffalo kind of looked like a thug, kind of looked like a cop on the take almost.
Yeah,
that's what I kind of felt that way at the beginning of the movie, that he was like,
because he's undercover, and I like how they started with that. So it almost for a minute there, you think he's going to be part of like the rival gang or whatever. That's gonna, you know, the people that's gonna go after him.
That's what
and
I
then
thought.
It turns out he's a detective, you know, undercover. Yeah,
because he was like speaking like Spanish a little bit, I think.
Yeah, and he's like, I've been working this guy for 6 months or whatever, you know, and on his deals, blah blah blah.
So no, that I don't know. There was a movie I watched recently. I can't remember what it. I think it was The Penguin. I finished The Penguin, and there's like a moment like in that where you're just like, oh, man, okay, that's dark as shit. All right, well, next.
Yeah, a lot of that in that show. I too finished it last night,
dude. We can wait till this is over to talk about that. So I don't want that spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Mariah, we were sitting there watching it together. I know I don't want to start having another podcast, but what's her name in that show?
Sophia?
Yeah. What's the actress's name?
Kristen Milioti, I think.
Dude, she's
awesome.
Fuck, dude. She was great.
Incredible.
She's no Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, this was back when Jada Pinkett seemed like she may have been a cool person. Now she just seems like a monster, but who knows? Yeah, man. I mean, hell of a movie, dude. The Javier Bardem scene is good when he goes in. And he's got, I just have to at least bring that up, how he's got to pretend to be Vincent, because he's like, nope, these people don't get to see my face. You threw my goddamn briefcase over the shit, so now you got to go fix this. Yeah. Which that was another moment too, that suspension of disbelief, right? It starts to stretch that when I'm like, really, dude, you're not just going to murder him right now? Like, so far, everything has led us to believe that you would have just fucking shot him dead right there. Like, he threw it over, it got run over by the truck, like, all right. Done. That's a wrap. But that he like tackles him and is like, you messed up my work. Like, I don't know. But it made for a good scene with Felix, Javier Bardem, you know?
Yeah, it's
and Emilio Rivera is like one of the henchmen guys. I thought that was kind of funny. But I like when he's asking, he's like, so how many years have you been doing this? Do you get health insurance? And he does do a good job, you know, kind of taking shit that Vince said earlier in the night and like using it, you know what I mean? And just kind of putting on that, the acting hat there. I thought that was another really good tense scene.
But it's, if anyone hasn't seen this movie, you need to watch it. It's there's so many ups and downs back to back that you're just like, okay, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, geez, like, I don't know. It's just, I think that a lot of movies, like action movies, can fall into a formula, and this one, it's definitely its own formula. Like you said, like I was waiting for Mark Ruffalo to come save the day, and all of a sudden the Terminators, you know, chasing Sarah Connor and Reese down. But no,
Yeah.
No, you're done. Get out of my way.
Yeah, not that.
Yeah, nope, sorry.
Yeah, it's a hell of a movie. Like you said, I think people should go back and watch this one again. Now that I'm doing this other YouTube movie review show, The Real Generation Gap, go check it out. I might pitch this to the co-host and be like, since I've just watched it, like,
Yeah, man.
let's do this one. And
It's really good.
Remind people how great this movie is.
Yeah, I think it's a sleeper for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a movie that doesn't get enough mention.
Yeah.
But I think also a lot of, like, some of the other Michael Mann films, as well as Tom Cruise films, are so big that I guess it could get lost in the filmography a little bit. I mean, it still made like what $250 million. I think if I remember, it was a pretty low budget.
I think it was like
film
65 million ish when I saw it. Yeah.
So I think like when it gets drowned out by like things like Heat or any Mission Impossible film.
Yeah.
I think there's like 12 of them. I don't know. Even though I really do like the most recent ones. They're
which by the way, the trailer dropped yesterday
yep.
for the next one.
Final Reckoning.
Yeah, and because I watched this the day before, it really made me realize how old Tom Cruise is.
Yeah, he
now.
definitely
like,
looks.
He's in this trailer, like he looked good in the last couple movies and this that, but like this trailer in particular, and like his face on the poster, I'm like, and he looked good in Top Gun Maverick too. But now it's like, oh,
Yeah,
you're looking pretty old.
He's getting
now,
too
man.
much Botox done. He's getting too many needles going on.
A little puffy.
Yeah, he's a little puff. Yeah, I like how you said that.
All right, man. Well, yeah, great movie.
Go see it.
Yeah.
Don't be a loser.
Oh, yeah. That's a wrap on this one. Collateral and Midwinter Night's Dram, Act 12, Act 6.
Can't beat it.
Cheers. Thank you for listening to the Drinks and a Movie podcast. You can now find us on Instagram at Drinks and a Movie Pod, where we'll be posting photos from all the various films that we discuss. You can also email us at drinksandamoviepod@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe, and thank you for listening.